let's do this video right here. This is from Vinny Vincent. Vince Vintage. I said that right the first time. All right. Now, Vince Vintage is a nice guy. We're basically brothers. Okay. All right. We have a mutual friend that I happen to play World of Warcraft with, and it just so happens that he also has a relation to him in some capacity as well, which is just kind of funny how things work out like that. And this video is called How an Anti-Gay Senator Was Caught Sleeping with 94 Men. That's a lot of men. Maybe he meant to say he was caught sleeping with one guy in a 69. Huh? Do you get it? Get it? Let's get going.
Today, one case. I was fresh on the force with a thin mustache and a...
Let me set that over.
I remember it like it was yesterday, one case. I was fresh on the force with a thin mustache and a thinner wallet. But even back then, I had a sharp nose for hot
Why would you arrest Cuba Gooding Jr., bro? Come on.
leads. I was assigned to go undercover in the men's restroom at the Minneapolis airport. The rookies at airport security called me in. The professional did reports of certain men turning tricks with one another, if you're catching my drift. There was a pervert out there, and it was my job to find him. Okay. After taking out the bathroom stall, I'd managed to get my first bite, a United States Senator, Larry Craig. I could see a slender face staring at me through the gap in the door. I was stunned to my core.
Hey, that's not how it works, okay? Listen, I've never... excuse me. I've never been to any of these, I think they call them hidey holes. I can't wink. It's ticks. But it's not, you don't look it through the cracks. You just look through the little hole. There's a hole. It's about your, maybe your stomach section or your upper thigh region. And that's where you deposit the money. Your penis.
For minutes, he would fidget with his hands and then pop back up to look through the crack with those piercing blue eyes. And in that moment, I couldn't help but wonder, wasn't Craig a Republican senator from Idaho? Didn't he sit on the board of the NRA? Was he about to tango with an undercover officer? Soon enough, I had my answer. Craig entered the stall next to me and placed his bag up against the front of the door.
What bag are you talking about?
For my time cleaning up these streets, he had done this to give himself a bit of extra privacy for what he was about to do next. As I waited, I could see Craig's shoes, his pants, and got a waft of his cheap CVS cologne. And then bingo, the pieces of the puzzle were falling into place. Foot tapping, that's the signal for men wanting to turn tricks in the bathroom.
So if you do see the foot inching closer or doing that infamous tapping, which for those of you who need a translation means I'm looking for or I'm ready to give a blowy.
Looks like
this guy, very nice looking man.
We had a good lead today, Charlie. With every tap, he moved his foot closer to mine. Just like I'd learned at the academy, I moved my foot up and down slow, like a mating routine, and I was luring him in. I then caught a glimpse of his gold wedding band on his ring finger. You're telling me Craig's a married man, trying to get some bathroom action in a downtown airport?
Do I ever do viewer call-ons? I got to set up a Discord to do stuff like that soon-ish when I figure out how to do it the way I want to.
I immediately thought about his kids, his wife, his traditional family values, and by then I had it. So I showed Craig my police badge and pointed towards the exit. Craig responded, "No," without causing a scene.
I'm pretty sure that you can't arrest somebody unless you can get them actually engaging in the crime. So you'd actually have to let him suck your wee-wee. Or the reverse. If you really wanted to get him.
The cuffs and his
I had to make the rules.
What a way to end the week. Craig kept asking me what was going to happen, like a 5-year-old boy whining to his mama about his missing Pokemon cards. So I told him, "You're under arrest." I brought Craig down to the station and told him to get cozy and hand me over his ID. Instead, with a shit-eating grin, he handed me his United States Senator business card and asked me, what did I think about that? I tossed his card to the ground and told him his money was no good here because no one plays me for a sucker and gets away with it. He then handed me his driver's license. Guess I'll be working late tonight. Now, after being arrested in a sting operation, fingerprinted, and even posing for mugshots with his American flag pin on his suit, Senator Larry Craig would quietly plead guilty to lewd and disorderly conduct for some of that same stuff.
Do you guys remember that joke from the Animaniacs where they said, we got to get their fingerprints? And then they tried to, fingerprints, the popular musician? That was a funny joke, guys. Maybe I didn't give me a chuckle back then because I was just a young lad, but it's kind of funny.
All action, you know what I mean. Now he would admit to it. He signed the guilty plea on the dotted line, just like Willy Wonka, and then told nobody about it. Not his wife, not his kids, not even his constituents. Now Senator Craig had gotten away with this. He had narrowly avoided a career-ending scandal, or so we thought.
Today, a Washington, D.C. political newspaper broke the story.
I can understand why this guy probably just hates himself, so he's trying to... It's one of those things where he's like, I don't want to be gay to such a degree that he's trying to legislate gay people out of existence. Really base stuff, brother. Really base stuff, you know? It's crazy.
Senator Craig was arrested in June in a Minneapolis airport bathroom for lewd conduct.
Roll Call
Ooh, me
magazine
too.
broke the story a month later about his arrest, and the truth would come out to set Larry Craig free. Because who really was Larry Craig, the Republican senator? Yeah, he was in that barbershop quartet called the Singing Senators, where he sang lead
real?
vocals with 4 other Republican senators.
Is that real?
That's real.
My heart's on fire, Elvira.
He also sat on the board of the NRA.
As
Wow,
many of you
they probably all had sex with each other all the time. What a that sounds like such a great time.
know, I have been a life member and on the National Board of
Me
Directors
too.
of the National Rifle Association since 1982.
Same here.
But the reality
Same here,
was that
brother.
Craig was just a massive hypocrite.
And we won't let the Venezuelas or the Nigerias or the
How do you know he's a massive hypocrite? What if he's just like a medium-sized hypocrite? You know what I mean? Maybe, you know, not everybody is not every, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. There's nothing wrong with not being a massive hypocrite, okay? Just because listen, and another problem that we don't talk about is sometimes some people are growers hypocrites but not showers, okay? You have to be a little more inclusive when you talk about these things. You don't want to trigger people, you know? Okay?
Saudi Arabias or the Irans jerk us around by the gas
Jerk me
muzzle.
around.
He had a long,
A
extensive,
lot of penis jokes. Is that don't jerk us around by the gas? He's just fucking horny off that one out.
girthy, thick, wide history
Oh,
of voting for
shit.
anti-gay policies. For example, he
Yes.
voted in the military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, which, don't ask me about it, because I'm not going to tell you.
Fauci was
Nice.
criticized for forcing military personnel into secrecy and for falling short of total acceptance of their ability and right to serve in the military.
He also voted to ban same-sex marriages, unions, and partnerships. This part, I think,
How recent is this?
Serve in
Oh, it's 10 months old. Yeah, because like that shit's happening now. Like literally, they just finally codified. I say codified because I'm fucking base. Shut up, person who corrected me in the comments. They just codified gay marriage, right? Because what happened is that we never thought that Roe v. Wade would ever be overturned, right? And then guess what? Roe v. Wade got overturned. So then there was Republicans like Ted Cruz talking about how we should make it state choice whether you should be able to get gay married, which is fucking ridiculous. Gay marriage is something that you get government money for. So separation of church and state, everybody should be able to get married. Based, okay? Anyway. And so like this is like much more of a real threat. It's so funny. I remember making a video after I covered the Roe v. Wade, and I was like, I think gay marriage is up next. And people were like, no, you're being stupid. And then like fucking Ted Cruz started to be like, yeah, we totally should get rid of this thing. Make it state choice. Let's try to ban it basically to the extent that we can, because that's the most that they can get. Okay? Shut up. It's codify. Shut up. I don't know. I don't care. Anyway. So you shut up, person who is telling me it would never happen. You're an idiot.
he even voted yes on a bill that wouldn't allow hate crimes to cover sexual orientation. So
Damn.
being caught with your pants down, cruising for men in an airport bathroom,
Cruising is what two men do in a public place to initiate sex. It's completely anonymous. Rarely would a name be changed.
while you advocate
What?
for traditional family values,
That's kind of hot. I'm just saying.
it was a bit awkward for him. So left with no options, Larry Craig would come out and deny everything, with his wife at his side, mind you. Craig would open up his
Hey, that's a good wife. Ride or die, am I right, guys?
public denial with no Freudian slip by saying, "Thank you for coming out today,"
Thank you all very much for coming out today.
which I think is funny. Maybe
That
you
is
don't,
funny.
maybe I do. I don't know.
Yeah, the joke is he's coming out as gay.
And I regret the decision to plead guilty. While I was not involved in any inappropriate conduct at the Minneapolis airport, I am
She knows. She knows that he's been stooping around a little bit, you know what I'm saying? She knows, bro. You could tell she fucking knows.
not gay. I never have been gay because I am not gay. I love my wife,
Convinced.
my family.
So the Minneapolis police, they weren't too happy
Convinced.
about Craig's public
See,
denial.
that's how you know he's gay, because he's that old and still loves his wife and his family. When you're a man of that age, you stop loving everything, okay? Because your wife and your kids have taken everything that you hold dear and trust and love, and they've destroyed it. They've shit on it. They've destroyed you. They've destroyed you as a person, all right? They've ruined your life, all right? That's the reality. That's how you know he's fucking gay. That's how I know that guy's gay as fuck. all
because
right?
this would
Nothing wrong with
contradict
it.
that plea agreement he had signed when he got arrested, which that document states the court will not accept the plea from anyone who believes they're innocent. So to counter Craig's denial and set the story straight, the police interrogation recording was released to the public.
Instead of gay,
And,
yeah.
It's pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. You do anything to feet? Position them? I don't know at the time. I'm a fairly wide guy. I understand. I tend to spread my legs when I lower my pants so they won't slide. Okay.
Oh, pretty wide guy. Thought he said a white guy. I was like, me too, I guess. What's the relevance here? All right.
Did I slide them too close to yours? Did I looked down once your foot was close to mine? Yes. Did we bump? You said so. I don't recall that, but apparently we were close. Well, your foot did touch mine on my side of the stall. All right.
Now, Craig claimed that his foot came into contact, or may have made contact with this undercover officer because he was a quote-unquote pretty wide guy. A comment that would haunt him for the rest of his life as Larry...
It's got a pretty wide cock. Hey, what's up, Acryl? How you doing, brother?
Wide stance Craig. Now, maybe you're thinking to yourself, maybe he did have a wide stance. He was a big guy. Maybe this cop who arrested him was out to make a quota. Maybe you believe Larry Craig is innocent. What if I told you that this wasn't the first time Craig was caught in a sticky situation? Craig has been denying he's been gay since 1982. 1982. Two 17-year-old...
He's been denying it since 1982. I feel like if you keep denying it, you're probably gay, you know? Like, how much can you fucking deny it?
Old boys from the Congressional Pages
whatever.
program. Like
I would just get bored at that point. If I had to keep denying I was gay, I'd be like, I'm gay. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? I just don't have time for it. Who cares? You know what I'm saying?
Program for high school kids make allegations of sexual abuse from the older members of Congress with the younger interns. Now, the FBI would step in to investigate these
Sorry, let me just...
situations. Craig has been denying he's been gay since 1982. 1982. Two 17-year-old boys from the Congressional Pages program, it's like an intern program for high school kids, make allegations of sexual abuse from the older members of Congress with the younger interns. Now, the FBI would step in to investigate these serious claims, and they speculated that it involved up to 15 members of Congress.
What the fuck?
You could put a number on the number of congressional employees that you may have direct knowledge of involvement in illicit activity. How many would that be?
Direct knowledge, 15 to 20.
Though the
Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Damn. We really do need to separate church and state if there's that many fucking child molesters in Congress. You get it? Anyway. Because there's a systemic cover-up of it. All right, guys? I love God and Jesus. And all you fucking child molesters and predators that live in the church, you destroy the good name of Jesus Christ Almighty. Blessed be the Lord unto him, brother. What was I gonna say? Fuck, I had something to say. God damn it! I don't know. Oh, I saw this joke. It was like yesterday from Louis C.K. I've been watching a lot of YouTube shorts. So I'm seeing a lot of stand-up. And Louis made this joke about how, like, when he was younger, it's like people who were child molesters, like, nobody cared like they do nowadays. He's just like, yeah, that was just the guy who molests children on the block. And he would always ask us, and like, he was a registered sex offender. People still didn't really care. And he would ask them to go to McDonald's. And he's like, if my one friend would say, sure, fuck it. And he'd go and get a free meal. And then he would, like, run. He would just leave. And the guy was like, oh, no. Like, he wanted to fuck him or something. So...
These people were not named publicly. So here's a little tip. Generally, it's best to avoid making public denials about accusations, especially when the person that they are accusing is unnamed. But apparently Larry Craig never got that message because he was the only congressman to issue a public denial.
Persons who are unmarried, as I am, by choice or by circumstance, have always been the subject of innuendos, gossip, and false accusations.
Now, there was only one problem. Those two boys whose tales of sexual abuse set off FBI investigations and Senate Ethics Committee hearings a year later had admitted to...
Wait, where's the... I was gonna say, like, what do they have to say? Did they come public? Hold on a second.
Making up the entire story.
An FBI
That's so fucked up. It's not funny. They did a terrible thing, but this guy fucking came out and self-reported when he wasn't even close to fucking even close to being in that fucking story. Like, it could never have been about him. It was fake. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Flavs super chatted $4.99.
Thank you so much, brother.
You've widened my perspective on many topics I felt I was ignorant to. And overall just helped me become a more accepting individual.
Oh, okay, cool, man. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Papa.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you have that kind of confidence in me, brother. I really do. Appreciate that a lot. I love you guys, too.
Spokesman said today that so far the Bureau has not been able to corroborate charges that congressional pages have been pressured into sexual activity with members of Congress. And the spokesman said it's not a widespread, organized...
Or maybe this is just a conspiratorial, is that a word? Cover-up, huh? Did you think about that? Maybe it did happen. But the right people, the wrong people got to him. What do you think about that, huh? I don't know either.
Problem.
So Craig had denied something that no one had even accused him of that didn't even happen at all.
This.
Okay, now this clip is funny. In the 1990s, Bill Clinton was getting berated for the Monica Lewinsky scandal. So Larry Craig would go on air and say this about President Clinton.
Bad boy, Bill Clinton. You're a naughty boy. The American people already know that Bill Clinton is a bad boy, a naughty boy.
Sounds to me like someone likes to
Yeah, wants to fuck him.
be called a naughty boy. But here's one of the craziest parts. So,
bad boy.
People already know that Bill Clinton's a bad boy, a naughty boy. I'm going to speak out for the citizens of my state, who in the majority think that Bill Clinton is probably even a nasty, bad, naughty boy. What the fuck?
A naughty boy.
Sounds to me like someone
fuck?
likes to be called a naughty boy.
You gonna
here's
draw
one
me
of the
dabbing?
craziest
Very
parts.
pogger.
So 1 month before he was arrested.
You draw me dabbing like a fucking pen, or are you gonna draw me dab like hitting a dab? Like,
Arrested in that bathroom for cruising for men, the Idaho Statesman newspaper, the state that he was a senator of, was doing a 5-month investigation into over 300 accusations of Larry Craig having liaisons with other men.
Damn.
Some is going far back.
well, I mean, he must. I would imagine he would do escorts. Why the fuck didn't he pay them better? I mean, Jesus, bro. Or maybe they just didn't adhere to their agreement. That's a red flag.
As 1967. But it gets even crazier. They'd even interviewed Larry Craig and his wife about
You're
all
a
of
naughty
these
boy,
allegations
Mr.
3
Clinton.
weeks before he was arrested.
I feel the worst for the fucking wife. She's probably like a supportive wife, and just he's putting his dick into whatever the fuck, and she's just like, God damn it, you know, that's my Carl, or whatever this asshole's name is. I forgot.
Oh my God, his wife. I feel bad for his wife. Now, one of
Exactly.
the most credible accusations was a donor who had close ties to the Republican Party, and he said that he had witnessed Larry Craig with multiple unnamed men doing things I can't say
Whoa.
here at the Union Station men's bathroom, which, if you didn't know, is quite the hotspot for cruising. And also, if you didn't know, Union Station
What is that?
men's Larry Craig with multiple unnamed men doing things I can't say here at the Union Station men's bathroom,
What state is that in?
which, if you didn't know, is quite the hotspot for cruising. And
Hold on, I just. What is NE? Nebraska? Okay, Union Station, Nebraska. Sorry, it's kind of irrelevant.
also, if you didn't know, Union Station is a few blocks away from the Senate. Now, of course, when asked about this, Craig would just openly deny it.
I knew
He said,
that.
I am not gay. I've never been in a restroom in Union Station having sex with anybody. I am not gay, and I never have been. Now, another man said that Craig had cruised him at an REI store in Boise, Idaho in 1994. Craig responded to this allegation, saying, I've been in this business 27 years in the public eye. I don't go around hitting on men, and by golly, if I did, I wouldn't do it in Boise, Idaho. Out of all the things you could say, why would you say that? I wouldn't do it in Boise, Idaho. Okay, dude. So with Larry White stance Craig gaining national and even worldwide attention,
I
he was
guess
just
I
the
agree.
laughing stock
I would do it in Thailand. There's a lot of feminine men over there. You know, that's where I'm just saying. Trying to be like.
of the town in 2007. Late night comedians are ripping him apart.
So, sir, you really are serious about keeping your seat in the Senate? Oh, absolutely. I still feel that I can be of service to the men and men of Idaho.
If you're interested in applying for an intern position with Senator Larry Craig, here is the official
is this the last
application
round?
announcement.
Be proficient in Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint. Have a distinguished brow, firm set jaw, strong but knowing hands.
I think it should be called My Wide Stance.
My wide stance. And even Hassan's uncle, Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, ripped
Son's uncle. You got to throw it in there.
Larry Craig apart.
Larry Craig says, oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
We used to say Hassan was Cenk's nephew, but now the roles are reversed because Hassan's more successful.
The playing the footsies? I just have a wide stance in the bathroom.
The hell's NE? Is it not Nebraska?
Wide stance Larry Craig.
He was wide stance Larry. And all of this scandal really came at a bad time for Larry Craig because he was up for re-election soon. So when you're getting hit from the left for being a hypocrite, you're getting hit from the right for not living his true traditional family values. I mean, Mitch McConnell even called his acts unforgivable. Imagine Mitch McConnell calling you unforgivable. It's gotta hurt really bad. So on September 1st, Craig would announce to the public that he was gonna resign from the Senate a month later on September 30th. You know, with sadness and regret and for the goodness of the American people. And everyone was clapping. Everyone's like, cool, you're gonna resign. But our story isn't over.
Well,
because
he's not gonna
just
resign, right?
3 days later, Craig had a change of heart. He actually withdrew his resignation and pledged to the American people that if he could get his conviction overturned, he wouldn't resign. I mean, this guy had no shame. So the day he made this pledge to the American people, he had an army of attorneys filed a motion to withdraw that guilty plea that he had signed. Which also, mind you, it is near impossible to get a guilty plea overturned in the United States.
Idaho Senator Larry Craig looking to reverse his guilty plea in an airport bathroom sex sting.
Craig wants his sexting guilty plea thrown out.
He'd promised to step down. Now he's reversing course.
Senator Craig is refusing to step down.
He's changed his mind about stepping down.
But with a team of $500 hour attorneys and the senator's political poll, for sure.
Is he paying for them, or is that fuck? They're the American people paying for that? You know, like who is paying for that, dude?
Sure, they can get this guilty plea overturned. I mean, that's what America's all about, baby. Get this thing overturned.
Bro.
Idaho Senator Larry Craig has lost his latest attempt to withdraw his guilty plea following a men's room sex sting at the Minneapolis airport.
The guilty plea was still upheld. After spending $213,000 on attorneys and PR
He spent
people
it?
within a month, he was still guilty of lewd conduct in that airport.
How does he have that much money? Fuck.
Bathroom. Now, Larry Craig said he was a man of his word, traditional values, that he was going to resign for the good of the people if he didn't get this conviction overturned. So would he resign from the Senate? Of course not. He would serve out the rest of his 15 months left in his term and retired on January 3rd, 2009.
Thank you very much.
And so Senator Larry Craig goes down.
But Craig's comedy of errors doesn't end there.
7 investigates found
Goes down, baby. You know what I'm saying? On penis. On fetus.
the former congressman was still spending campaign cash after his public service had ended.
Because a couple of years later,
Of course.
Craig was investigated and sued from the Federal Election Commission for illegally using campaign funds to pay for his $213,000 attorney bill that couldn't even fight off his guilty plea, and was told he had to pay it back because it was an ethics thing, which is one of the rare cases I've seen
Did he get a bailout? How did he pay it back?
where someone actually gets penalized for some missing campaign money. Now, you may be asking yourself, what's Craig up to these days? He just couldn't leave Washington. He loved it too much. So today, he is a lobbyist for the lumber industry, where he advocates for the destruction
It says oil there, but
of forests and Mr. Beast team trees, all
yeah, that is something that should not be allowed to happen. I think it's insane that you go into Congress and you will become like, you're a politician. You will, you go into there being a politician, fight for the American people. And then the second that you get elected out or whatever, there's a job waiting for you in the lobbyist, as a lobbyist, because you know everything. You know how to play the system better. And you get to basically fight for lobbyist groups that will fuck people over. It's fucking crazy, bro. It's crazy. I mean, it just feels like it's so disingenuous, you know. And like how much of the way that they're interacting when they get elected in, or excuse me, how much of the way that they're interacting as they're still in the government, how much of that is genuine? Like, who's to say that the oil lobbyists didn't reach out to him and be like, hey, you know, let's take a deal? It's fucked how there's so many conflicts of interest in the United States.
Today, he is a lobbyist for the lumber industry, where he advocates for the destruction of forests and Mr. Beast team trees all across the United States. And
America,
it's really
baby.
the perfect job for any disgraced politician.
True.
Now, this story is ironic. The whole time he was copping a feel, he was actually feeling a cop. But in all seriousness, let's
More like feeling a cock. Ha ha! Cock and a feel.
Let's talk about the one lesson to take away. Whether you think he's guilty or not, talk to a lawyer. Never sign a guilty plea without talking to an attorney. He should have never signed that. Now, I'm not making fun of Craig for being gay or closeted, or maybe he's bisexual. It's more of a hypocrisy of his morals. And I found this quote from an openly gay member of Congress that
It's not just an hypocrisy of his morals. It goes even deeper to me. It's that he was trying to legislate that morality. It's one thing to be a closeted homosexual. It's another thing to be a closeted homosexual because there's nothing wrong with that. That preaches against, you know, being gay. It's like, you shouldn't be gay. There's another thing to try to legislate homosexuality away. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, Larry's now working with hardwood. Yeah, sure.
That sums up Craig's situation nicely. You have a right to privacy, but not hypocrisy. During the period that I was closeted for 7 years, I was always a gay rights supporters. It's a violation of principles to vote one way and act another. Now, before you leave,
Is that what he said?
right to privacy from an openly gay member of Congress, or maybe he's bisexual. It's more of a hypocrisy of his morals. And I found this quote from an openly gay member of Congress that sums up Craig's situation nicely. You have a right to privacy, but not hypocrisy. During the period that I was closeted for 7 years, I was always a gay rights supporters.
Okay.
It's a violation of principles to vote one way and act another.
Based.
Now, before you leave, if you want to support me and get more content like this, go to my Patreon. It is banger. I remember.
Does he really owe his ex-wife? No way. That's a joke. That's a real vintage joke from our friend Vincent here. All right, that was a good video. It's very entertaining. That's very good.
I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.